Hi guys, and welcome to the Stephen King Sematary Club. The next short story in Night Shift is The Mangler, and this one is about an inanimate object that gets possessed. So already it's quite different from the other short stories in this collection. It's quite different from other Stephen King stuff. I have a slight fear of industrial equipment. I remember one of the episodes of 6 Feet Under where a guy went in to clean a huge mixer. He had to climb in, and the guy that was working with him accidentally turned it on. You can imagine. So anyway, anything with like scarves or ties getting caught in rollers or things grabbing you and pulling you forward, you can't escape. They're super strong because they're industrial machines, that kind of thing freaks me out. So that's what this one's about. The short story is about a laundromat, like not one that you would go to do your own laundry, but an industrial laundromat, and it's called the Blue Ribbon Laundry. We have Officer John Hunton. He's the guy who's investigating at the beginning. George Stanner is the foreman. Adele Frawley is a woman who at the very beginning of the story has been pretty much squished and pressed to death in a machine at this laundry. And the killer is called the Mangler, but its official name is the Hadley Watson Model 6 Speed Ironer and Folder. And as someone is trying to describe the body, all he has to say is, quote, "It tried to fold everything, but a person isn't a sheet." So the idea of this machine is you would feed big like flat linens in, and it rolls it in between rollers, and it uses really hot steam. It's a 30-foot long machine. It operates at 300 degrees Fahrenheit, and it's 800 pounds per square foot. So that much pressure was crushing this woman. So at the very beginning of this, we encounter this laundry, and the accident was so terrible. The death of this woman was so horrific that people can't even be near the body. And we expect that the machine is broken, that something is wrong with the machine, it didn't pass inspection, or it was just an unsafe machine, something like that. Like, it was broken, or its safety protocol was compromised in some way. However, there were 6 inspectors, so 6 safety inspectors who looked at the machine, checked the safety bar that's supposed to do like an emergency stop. If the person goes too far into the machine, it's supposed to shut off because of sensors and the safety bar, etc., etc. But that was functioning. Everything was functioning okay, and they said it was as if she had dropped from like down above into the machine, which is not how it happened. Basically, the inspectors find nothing wrong with it. The machine is fine. They're allowed to continue using it. It was just a freak occurrence. And one of the inspectors tells the investigating officer about a refrigerator or an icebox, and how there was this like haunted icebox. And so he kind of feels like the Mangler is a little bit off, feels a little bit weird, maybe a little bit haunted kind of thing. And apparently this icebox was killing things. Like, people would open it and there would be a dead animal in there. Once there was a dead child in there, that kind of thing. Officer Hunton has been talking to his friend about this case. Mark Jackson is his friend, and I think Mark Jackson is kind of a stand-in for Stephen King, because Stephen King worked at a laundromat and is a writer or a teacher, that kind of thing, and that's who Mark Jackson is in this little short story. And they find out that a woman had bled by messing around with some of the clamps on the machine. She had bled and it got into the machine. So they think that maybe this machine became possessed because of the blood, especially if it's virgin blood. So they end up going to her house to ask her if she's a virgin, which she was. And they also are trying to find out what interacted with the blood to make this machine possessed. So 2 times a year, the Blue Ribbon does maintenance on the machines, and the Mangler is supposed to get its bearings greased. So George Stanner, who was the foreman that we met earlier, who had talked to the cops about the Mrs. Frawley, George Stanner and Herb Dimment, they're working on the machine. All of a sudden, it kicks on, and George Stanner's arm starts going in, and they cannot turn it off, will not turn off. The other guy goes into the office and is like turning off all the fuses. There are 3 different fuse boxes. He turns everything off, and it still keeps going, and it's, eating this man's arm, and the guy is about ready to slip all the way in and not just lose his arm. So Dimment, he grabs the fire axe from the office, and he goes over, and he doesn't want to, but he hacks off George Stanner's arm. So the arm gets hacked off, it completes its cycle, goes through the machine, and then the Mangler just turns off. Like, it was satiated. So Mark Jackson has been doing research, and he pretty much figures out that, this Mangler machine needs an exorcism, and they are going to perform it, him and Officer Hunton. And they have determined, Mark has determined that like a basic exorcism will suffice with holy water and a Bible. Jackson had said that it would be really bad juju and they shouldn't mess with it if something called the Hand of Glory had interacted with the blood in the Mangler. But he couldn't see any way that it could be the Hand of Glory because of where they were, and it's a type of belladonna and no one has access to that. There's just all these reasons. They completely discount that. They say it's not going to be the Hand of Glory, therefore they should be able to do a basic exorcism and be fine. What they did not realize is that Mrs. Frawley, the woman who died in the beginning, had dropped in some medication that had a derivative of belladonna in the capsules, and the machine had eaten those. So it technically was the Hand of Glory that was inside interacting with the virgin blood, and therefore they are out of their league, and their exorcism definitely goes awry. It's very descriptive, very, very terrifying, and Mark doesn't make it. Officer Hunton does make it. He goes and runs to the state inspector who had told him about the refrigerator. The fuck is that? Basically, even though Hunton gets away and he gets to Roger Martin's house, he was the state inspector who told him about the refrigerator story and knew that they were going to perform this little exorcism. He gave them the key to go do it, and it is too late because they can hear the Mangler coming down the street. So I really love I like it when inanimate objects come to life. I mean, the brave little toaster, love it. I always picture the Mangler to be huge and have silly googly eyes. So I'm guessing that's not what I'm supposed to be imagining. It's supposed to be a little more horrifying than that, but it's still funny. So the Mangler, very quick read, very unorthodox for Stephen King, at least up until this point. And I think it is definitely lighthearted, yet still sends a little chill down your spine. Have a spooky day.